Universe is a tricky bugger. And I'm so excited by this week ahead because it's really a positive feeling. Now, I know the world can seem like it is going to hell in a handbasket, but we have our own little canopy of goodness here for each of us. Jupiter in Leo is going to activate all of our Leos, right? Everything from Madonna to Pope Leo to King Charles to Trump and Vance. All of those guys are Leonine. And so lunatic astrology. I'm about to tell you that we have some lucky skies ahead, and I don't want to oversell it, but we have a sextile between Jupiter and Uranus at the same time. Mercury will end up loving up Venus in a sextile as well. Both of those combinations bring positive, happy surprises, good fortune, and lucky breaks. I could say it's a lucky strike week, but I can also say it's very rare. It's embedded within something we've been calling Barbault's basket, and within that basket there is a mini triangle called a miniature or minor grand trine. All of this is extraordinarily rare. In order to have that bigger backdrop picture, please go watch my video here, where I talk about Barbault's basket and what might be dropping into your basket over the next couple of months. In the meantime, I'm going to drill this week ahead into that beautiful energy between Lord Jupiter, luck, expansion, growth, prosperity, and Uranus, the surprises, the unexpected elements of that, as well as Mercury, as he loves up Venus, and that can literally look like good news, fortunate news, and positive energy coming your way. We have a square between Chiron and the Sun this week ahead as well. We'll address that briefly, talk about what it might feel like for the world and for your sign. In today's video, we'll cover mostly all signs astrology, and the extended members version only, the week ahead version, is going to talk more about the world stage in terms of the sky. I will briefly touch on some of the things that may happen in the world, but I really want to get to you. I want you to be able to use this fortunate and very rare sky. We have kinds of things happening in our heavens that we haven't been able to get AI and or software to go back and track. So it's kind of first in a lifetime. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Lothian, and this is the Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. We are talking whole sign houses. Yes, we are. And we're not talking sidereal astrology. If you don't know how to cast your chart in whole sign houses, every video I put out has a tutorial. If you don't know the meanings of the 12 houses, every video I have has the meanings of the 12 houses free PDF. That's in the description box underneath my video. And I'm so excited by this week ahead because it's really a positive feeling. Now, I know the world can seem like it is going to hell in a handbasket, but we have our own little canopy of goodness here for each of us. It's like, imagine that there's a massive storm going on in the world, wars and calamities and political problems. And all of a sudden you come into this quiet zone. Maybe it's like an eye of a hurricane. Maybe it's like a big tent underneath a stormy and rainy sky. But if you were to use the energy of this week and actually lean into Jupiter, which is good, wise, true, although Jupiter has a funny way of saying you don't get what you want, you get what you need, right? But he is still a good guy. He's all by himself in Leo without that south node there, that pesky south node that could change his tonal quality. That will happen at the end of July. And at the same time, he's kind of looking for what he can expand and grow in your Leo sky. In your chart, my chart, and I'll show the chart in a minute, we all have a part of our heavens that is Leonine. It is the sign of the lion. It is the courage, the heart. It is the performer, the leader, and the celebrity. And where Jupiter's traveling every 12 years in that sign is where he is now. And he is going to be opening up a big change in all of our lives because he's going to be accompanied by the eclipses, the August 12th total solar eclipse, for example. But before we get there, in this month of July, the 20th to 26th, he's got his little eyeballs, and so does Uranus, on each other. Uranus is in the sign of Gemini, the sign of the twins. Jupiter is in the sign of leaders and performers, but big-hearted courage and luck and opportunity, of course. Golden opportunities, you would say, in the sign of the Sun. And I think the two of them communicating with each other this week in the sextile, 20th to about the 23rd, 4th, you're really feeling it, is going to bring a bounteous, prosperous, a positive, wise or true, exciting, exhilarating breakthrough to your life. Because, when Uranus is surprising us, he's also doing that old breakthrough, break free energy. He's that energy of the lightning bolt that creates earth, like life on earth, the Promethean impulse. it's kind of like in comes this lightning strike into a pile of mud and suddenly life is struck, life is forming. That's a creation idea. I don't know if it's true, but you get the idea that the sky god Uranus is going to work with Jupiter, the god of the Olympian mountaintop, and the two of them are co-conspiring for your goodness this week. Midweek, we'll see that Sun square Chiron and Taurus until September the 17th, got there around June the 19th, testing the Earth area where he will come back next spring in April and stay for almost 7 years. So Chiron is what is wounded, but what also is providing that key to purpose in our lives. It's like through the wounds and the challenges of the Chironic ouchy spot, we are going to heal ourselves and thus bring our gifts, our medicine, and our talents to the world. And collectively, we're seeing a Chironic wound emerging in a sign that has to do with Earth. I've covered this on many, many videos. We're seeing things like data center bans in New York State. We're seeing protests against data centers. That's because this is soil. This is Taurus. This is Mother Earth. This is the fields we plow. This is the flowers we grow. This is the earth we have to breathe the air we have. And most people experience data centers as a threat to that because they can deplete the water supply and because they make an annoying and maybe electromagnetic dangerous health field around them, including humming sounds. And they take up swaths of acreage of land. And so the protests against data centers as Chiron moves through the sign of Taurus until mid-September is something I predicted already on my Chiron videos about this ingress. But we're also going to see other things to do with the world connected to that Chiron transit. And Chiron in Taurus corresponded with the Jimmy Carter era, the gas price crisis, the Iranian story, right? Iran's revolution in 1979, and then the reduction of oil supplies in the world and the calamitous oil markets. So we're in that right now. So we're seeing the same thing play out. Unfortunately, Chiron in this part of the chart can be about very difficult stories connected to the earth, including droughts, including calamitous weather events like fires. And we're seeing a lot more of that intense weather with the El Nino. So we'll see more of that, including maybe an early hurricane season with his presence there until mid-September. And finally, at the end of this week, as we move towards the second half, we get the Mercury sextile to Venus. That's going to be that good news moment, that light touch. It can be very pleasurable, very positive, and very sweet. And we'll bring that to your attention as well. Okay, so we're going to get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm a teaching astrologer. If you didn't know that, welcome to my channel. I teach many different courses, but this is my Sky Reader course. It's coming up on the third weekend of September. It runs for 7 weeks. It's live with me to learn to be your own astrologer and time your best life. Please come check it out. In the description box is a link to the website where there's the basic overview of what this course is for. It's basically how to read your natal sky and then learn 2 very simple ancient timing tools. And you're doing that in collaboration with me, with my teaching assistants, with a Discord and Facebook group if you want to meet other students. It's also a group where we have guest teachers, how to pick the perfect day to launch something, electional astrology, some wellness or medical astrology. Donnie Lim will be with us talking about Venus in the chart and the love codes. So come join me. Those are guest teachers. You get 5 guest teachers this year in Sky Reader, and you get to keep the content forever. Go to the end of this video. You'll see my outro while I talk more about it, but you'll also see my extended members version. So there's a lot at the end of this video, and it's all timestamped for you. Okay, let's get going. All right, so I'm going to share the sky so you can see what I'm talking about. And what we do is we move through your story, sun, moon, and rising. At this point, Stella, my editor, might say, what's the difference between your sun, your moon, and your rising? Now she'll stick it in here. King, sun, moon, and rising. Stella, you can insert. And we'll go ahead and look at the chart. This is set for July the 16th, the day I'm recording this for you. We'll move it forward a little bit at a time. And you'll see what is happening as we reach the 20th of the month, which is a Monday. And that's Monday, the 20th of this week ahead, 2026 July. And you'll notice that it just happens to be a Virgo rising. We're just looking at it, no big deal. I'll be starting with Aries, but you'll see that Jupiter here is at 4 degrees of the sign of Leo. He's opposite Pluto, of course. That's the Barbault basket, top of the basket. Please watch my Barbault basket video. I'll put a link in the description box as well. It's about what you're ready to receive from 2 different parts of your sky. in a very rare and faded way. But also you'll notice that Jupiter is hooking up with Uranus. Now you're feeling this energy as we move into the week. Maybe a bit of it is even backlogged for Sunday. So this is a very beautiful feeling of something that can be surprising, exciting, positive, and lucky. And as we move him forward by a day, now we're on Tuesday, still in that relationship to Uranus, even onto Wednesday, they're still hooking up, and even into Thursday. And we begins to wane on Thursday. So the first Sunday behind us through to Thursday, some of you might have bled through to even Saturday. There's a surprise or positive unexpected development that's flowing and feels fortunate in your life. And this one little thing that we're picking apart from this basket, because we can't do everything here, the basket has been covered, is that there's unexpected surprises coming from everyone's Gemini story, and it's also going to bring Leonine matters to a head as well. And then we'll notice that as we get towards Wednesday, the sun is beginning, not the sun, the sun is beginning to make a square to Chiron. You'll see that the sun has ingressed into 0 degrees of Leo. You're probably wondering why the chart doesn't look like whole sign houses, and I'm not going to tell you. It's because I did a horary group on my Patreon community where we do 2 horary rooms every single month in a small group setting. Let me fix it. So that is, some of you will be looking at it going, what kind of house system is she using? That was Regiomontanus, but we don't use that for anything else but the horary readings, predictive astrology, using the time of the question. So back to the right looking chart. You'll notice that the sun has moved into 0 degrees of Leo. And that means that as soon as the sun has crossed that Rubicon, and this is Thursday, July 23rd, there is a square to Chiron. And Chiron is not going to stay here long, right? He's going to be out of there by September 17th and retrograde back to the last degrees of the sign of war, the wounds of war. You can probably expect mid-September till next April to be war stories continuing, yes. But I will say that this can be a moment of a flashpoint for you and me in the world. And that is the sunlight shining in Leo, the sign of leaders, and the woundedness of some situation connected to land, property, and earth. In the world story, anybody who has person, place, or thing, a strong Taurus placement will be implicated. For example, Iran has its midheaven in Taurus. For example, has its sun in Taurus. The spotlight is in the sign of performers and leaders. The wound is coming from the sign of Taurus. Okay, so that's why I'm talking about like people with Taurus midheavens, Iran. Did I say Iran? People with Taurus suns, Joe Biden, Taurus moon. And that can be literally illness of a leader, right? So we could go illness of a leader. Maybe it is a Joe Biden story, for example. All right, moving past the middle of the week, and we'll talk about how it might feel for your sign briefly. As we continue on, we'll notice that Mercury, who is here at 16 degrees of Cancer, getting ready to station and turn around, begins to notice that Venus is paying attention to him. So as I move us forward, Venus is at 17 and Mercury is at 16. Mercury has turned around. Now, it's kind of potent because Mercury here at 16 degrees on July 24th, Friday, Venus's day, has been stationing to turn around. So he's at that really intense energy. So this can bleed through the weekend, Friday through to the end of this weekend. You're going to wonder what that is. It's to go forward in something now at last in your Cancer sky where Mercury has been retrograding for 3 whole weeks. And he's been here since June 7th because of the retrogradation. You're ready to know what you need to do to move forward, and you're doing that with blessings from Venus, even in a detriment, even in the sign of Virgo. She's still Venus, and so there's a flow, a luck, and a kind of good news, good energy coming through for you as well. Let's go ahead and do all signs, and then we'll do the extended members only section with the world astrology, and then we'll also have, before the extended members for everyone, me just briefly going over the website where Sky Reader is going to be taught, sharing some of the thoughts I have about the course, who it's for and who it's not for. So let's get started. How do you listen for your sun, moon, and rising sign? People ask me all of the time. Let me explain it to you Very briefly, you know, when you were born, you were a spirit and you entered into the zone of matter, and you are playing here, hopefully, and having somewhat of a good time. And that's your sun energy. Your sun is your divine spark, it is your spiritual essence. It comes here from beyond space and time. It's ostensibly lived many different lives. And this aspect of you, this eternal nature, is one of the flavors of God or the divine or the creator or source. And you think about the 12 signs and the 12 sun signs, we have elements earth, air, water, and fire. And we have modalities fixed, cardinal, and mutable. You have a quality of the divine. You are an article of the universe, a tiny little spark of what is the one thing. And so when you think about your sun sign and you listen for that in astrology, you're thinking about your purpose for being incarnated. It often aligns you with career, aligns you with a sense of meaning. Your sun has to come into reality in a form called a body. That is your ascendant. Your ascendant is your character in the simulation of life. You could think of the sun as the movie actor, and you can think of the role in the movie that the actor is playing as your ascendant. So think about how your solar light infuses the character you're here to become and play. And that character is often cemented into being in the first 7 years of life. It's how you look, it's your personality traits and characteristics, it's how people respond to you, it's your mask and persona, and it's the vehicle for your spirit to play. And in many ways, it could be called a spacesuit. But I think this is a simulation. This ain't based reality. So in the simulation of life, like in the movie The Matrix, Neo is playing a character who works in an office in an unreal environment. And so your real self is somewhere else, but is playing this game. Now, when you think about your ascendant, you're going to notice that it's also very circumstantially accurate in terms of predictive value. That's because it's the beginning of the chart. It exists in the first house. It is what we call the helmsman energy, the steering wheel of your life. And often this part of the chart is going to be very sensitive to planetary transits and Time Lord tools. So you'll find it to listen in astrology for your ascendant or your rising sign is useful. To cast your chart in whole sign houses, look below and get my free video tutorial. And you'll need to know a birth time in order to find your ascendant. Now, when you're listening for your moon sign is how you feel and how you think about your life. You know, I think my partner's mean and not nice to me, and I feel really in love with you, my child, or something. So your feelings are right here, and the solar plexus. Your thinkings are up here, and that thinking, feeling complex can be condensed into the word your mind. Your moon is your mind. It means many other things because the sun can represent dad, father figures, and moon, mother and mother figures. But it's also your response to life, your subjective well-being, half full, half empty cup. Your moon is how you emotionally respond and think and respond, because every feeling is connected by a thought, and every thought has a feeling. Trust me on that one. So you listen to the moon sign when you want to hear how you respond to life in that emotional mental capacity. And it will often connect to matters of home. I always joke, every time a moon is eclipsed in my chart, my Aries moon, I always have a move within months. In fact, I just moved to a new place that you're seeing here from the March eclipse of my moon. So ultimately speaking, your moon is sensitive to domicile and where you live as well. So hopefully that helps you listen for all three. When we do the moon and sun, we just rotate the chart to the first house. So if you have an Aries moon like I do, we just spin the wheel. So we're as if Aries is an ascendant, but we talk about it as if it's an ascendant, and we call it your moon in Aries and derived houses. Same with the sun. We rotate the sun to the ascendant. All right. Whew, hopefully that makes sense to you guys, and go ahead and enjoy the rest of the video where I do the all signs portion. Now that you know what you're listening for, at least you'll know what to expect. Okay, so we're going to make our sky start with the actual sign of Aries, because you know what? Aries goes first. I have an Aries sun and moon, so I might be favoring my tribe. But it just seems logical that we go in zodiacal order from the beginning. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. As we step into the week ahead, right now you're looking at Sunday, you'll notice that there is this beautiful flow. Yes, the Barbault basket, but more importantly, I want to focus on the positive surprise that Uranus can bring, unexpected breakthrough in your third house, connected to the fifth house of the stage, of celebrity, of passion, of creativity, of entrepreneurship and art. Now, this is also a romance house, and possibly you could take a journey or a trip and meet a romantic love story coming through hot on that energy field. It could also be an opportunity to express yourself in the online social media world and have some extraordinarily positive results. This is going to be noticed by you basically July the 19th. It's heating up through till Wednesday, and Wednesday is July the 22nd. If I was in the sky for you, with you, which I am, I would take bold, decisive action on writing, teaching, marketing, selling, social media projects that you will experience as bountiful, prosperous, and lucky, especially if you're an entrepreneur, an artist, or a creative type. If you want to take a journey, a trip, a leisure trip, a journey somewhere, especially in this chart, it can be an opportunity to travel long distance or short distance, like to exotic faraway lands and or locally. And this could bring you a golden travel opportunity that just says like, oh my God, this came out of the blue. This is so exciting. Mars is like, make the decision, take the action. And you're like, are you kidding me? You guys are offering me an all expenses paid trip to Iceland. I always wanted to go to Iceland or Norway because you want me to teach an astrology class there. I'll do it. That's an example. You see what I mean? So finding that like golden opportunity, lucky break free, breakthrough energy is extremely lucky here in this week ahead. Jupiter is about children. He represents children, and Uranus represents surprise. So for example, I have an Aries son, daughter-in-law who's like ready to pop a baby out any minute. It's conceivable that this could indicate that there is a thing going on here on the 19th to the 22nd where the baby is suddenly ready to come out, right? The water breaks. It's so exciting. Here we go. You know, babies, they come when they're going to come. So it's always a surprise, unless you schedule it. I also want to say one more thing about this energy, and we'll get done on that. Uranus can represent the internet, right? The World Wide Web. So anyone who does anything World Wide Web-ish, right? If that's your cup of tea, if that's your gig, there's like a nice energy here for something extremely positive. Maybe you'll get a larger audience. Maybe you'll get more of a social media boost than you imagined you would ever get. Something good wants to happen. Jupiter can win some money for you and a lottery ticket here. Yes, it could, only if. And you need to buy a government institutional lottery under the sky. I'm not going to explain it. It has to be, it's not like a private lotto. It's not like gambling at the casino. It's kind of got a vibe of, yeah, like my government runs the Powerball or something. So that kind of win can happen. So I encourage you around, the 19th, 18th, 19th through to the 22nd. It's okay to play a lottery ticket now and then. You could be a winner. So why not? The god of wealth opposite Pluto in the house of windfalls. I mean, this is your time. And you might even say, I will even take it back to the 18th to the 22nd. Here's your advice. If you think you could win, it's your natal chart tells you if you can win or not, You can consult astrology to see if you have that karma. But just in case you don't know one way or the other, it doesn't hurt to buy a lottery ticket, right? If you win $5, give it to a homeless person, right? But take a chance on the 18th to the 22nd. You might be lucky. Lucky in love. Yes, maybe a new romance, lucky in money, and lucky in fertility, childbirth, and pregnancy, and all of that stuff. Okay, so with the chironic wound, watch out for wounds connected to your self-worth, self-value, your teeth, your face. This is literal, right? Like dental work or something like that. But it's also connected to the square from the sun crossing over into Leo. I think I'll just move us there so you guys can see it and you're not confused. So that square can be a difficult experience with money connected to your children, a child, connected to a romantic love partner, or just a fiscal moment, like a money moment where you're shining a spotlight on where you have wounds around financial self-worth and what you're capable of generating, because generating wealth with Jupiter in your 5th house is a no-brainer. You guys can be quite prosperous over the next year. And then, the sun is shining a light on what you're capable of. This might not be an actual financial wound, but rather a wound that is, clearly revealed by Jupiter. Jupiter is like, here the guru saith, this is what the problem is. I'm your teacher. I'm your, dispeller of darkness. You may see something about your reality where you're understanding where you hold yourself back or where you have a wound around your actual value and worth in this world. There can be something like that. Maybe if you win the lottery, you really heal a money wound, right? Kaboom, no more money wound for you. The sunlight is in the house of the good fortune with Jupiter, Pluto across the way in the windfall house. Let's go ahead and just touch the base with this story. Mercury goes direct at last. Hallelujah. You've been working on this story for a long time. Mercury went retrograde on June 29th and now goes direct around July 23rd. When Mercury's direct, you are going forward. You're going forward on things you need to do with your home, your property, your land, and your real estate, rental properties, and pets. Debt and also debts. So debts, indebtedness, home, property, land, and real estate, and pets. Moving forward, now you know what you need to do. You have your decision-making power ready. You're aiming for what you know is right. And that retrograde was just a reassertion time of thinking about it and knowing if you were ready. June the 29th to the 23rd. Now you are. Sign a rental agreement, buy or sell a property, list your property for sale, renegotiate a debt situation, eliminate a debt. Okay, there's something changing here. And if you're doing a pet, it's a soulmate pet. So if you wanted to get a pet under the sky, or a pet wants to find you, you know, they show up on your doorstep or some weird thing like that. This is a soulmate pet. This is somebody that is a spiritual being that you're meant to meet, not just any old animal. Moving on to the next sign. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign is the sky that tells us the week ahead is dominated by luck and ease, flow, and unexpected goodness. Jupiter is the first guy to talk about, starting on maybe as early as Saturday, Sunday behind us. This video comes out on a Monday most often. You probably notice a vibe, right? You might notice I'm feeling better about reality. This isn't so difficult. So we're talking about your vibing out on the 18th, 19th, Saturday, Sunday, but really hitting the mark as we move into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then Jupiter wants to bring you some positive luck connected to land, property, home, real estate, and legacy wealth. Now, Jupiter's been here for a while, and so, you know, end of June. And so legacy wealth, family of origin money, inheritance money, money from mom, estate wealth, that kind of thing is here. Jupiter's showing you that you are capable of that prosperity. And now, as you move Saturday through to Wednesday, Saturday behind, Wednesday ahead, up until the 22nd, there's this nice ka-ching feeling. And what I mean by ka-ching is it feels like prosperity and abundance, and it feels like excitement, breakthrough, and exhilaration. If money comes to you in some way, and for some of you, you could sell a property, for example, or someone could want to buy your home, or that, if it's going to feel like a liberation. Money will feel like you define yourself now with a sense of freedom, and that freedom can feel like a breakthrough for you. So maybe it's not just a financial surprise connected to fourth house matters, but it can also be a sense of liberation or freedom coming your way from something that was containing, binding you, and holding you back. Sometimes money cannot buy us happiness, but it can buy us freedom. And so money can bring you some freedom. Now, I'm not saying you're winning the lottery at all. That's not this chart. I'm saying something's going on that seems to be about financial freedom, liberation, or breakthrough. So you'll have to let me know how that goes. Chunky money, paychecks coming in, tax rebates, something like that. Jupiter rules your 8th house. That's where this money's coming from. This does not look particularly lottery win, in my humble opinion. As we move to the middle of the week, of course, we get that chironic wound of identity. Who am I? What am I? Why am I here? I don't like how I look. I don't even feel like I belong in this world. You'll be working on that for 7 years. Till mid-September, you're giving it a test pilot. And here we have this energy of the sun. It's kind of childhoodish, you know, it's the wounds, the light in the house of your childhood, the light in the house of your parents, the light in the house of the past and the ancestral line, your growing up years, the ancestors behind you. And there's a light on seeing what's good, true, and wise here. Maybe you've always wondered, you know, I'm going to be just like my mother. She never had any money. Or I'm just going to be like dad. I have a ton of money, but no life because I work all the time. There's a vibe here of understanding your position in the family system and in the ancestral line and figuring out your part in it. And so you have some knowledge, wisdom, and truth around that beginning around the middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, really Thursday, Friday. And then on the Friday itself, you're going to notice that Friday into the weekend, Venus is going to really sweetly touch base with this Mercury who's turning direct on the 24th. Maybe it's best that I put us on the 24th for that to be visible and that everyone doesn't get confused, okay? So, and you'll see that on Friday and Saturday, the vibe this week ahead is good news. Good news about pregnancy and fertility if you're trying to get pregnant. Good news about a sibling and fertility and pregnancy. I bet you my daughter's brother will have a baby. She's a Taurus. Then she'll be getting the good news kind of thing on Thursday, Friday that she's got she's an auntie. Good news about travel opportunities. Good news about leisure travel. Good news about things that are fortunate. You could have some good news about a sibling too younger than you in specific. Okay. And this flow, this Venus Mercury, is good for socialization as well, pleasure and fun in the local hood or in your daily life with people that you're really close to. Third house people, third house friendships are like, I can be sick with, I'm throwing up on the sofa and they're holding the bowl for me. You know what I mean? They're real, like, they're like family type friends to you, that kind of thing. A social time can be very good for you on Friday and Saturday. And Venus South Node is good for your soul if you're curtailing escapist addictions and pleasures and you're trying to be having authentically wholesome fun, sacred fun, fun that comes from a sense of purity. So I encourage you to just have fun, like go out on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night and do some wholesome fun as well. And let's move on. Hopefully you'll enjoy that, Taurus. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. I can sort of get with you guys because I have a progressed sun in Gemini for the last 17 years, but your progressed planets are not as important as your natal. Okay, I always say this. It kind of feels like you guys are going to be the one experiencing the break free, breakthrough, liberation, excitement. Like you might be jittery, you might have a Kundalini activation, especially if you're a Gemini rising, and you got that Uranian thing going here. Guys, get used to it. It's here for 7 years, right? Till 2032. So this is your energy being jacked up on outer planet stuff. I mean, come on. It's like the sky god with his lightning bolts, like the tower, the tarot, with his Promethean fire. You are being redone. You are being liberated for the next few years. And you're going to find your freak flag and fly it. You're going to find your originality and inventiveness. And you're going to be feeling yourself to be somewhat quite different as this finishes up a few years down the road. I bring it up because Uranus is very active as we begin this week, Saturday, Sunday into about Wednesday. The Jupiter-Uranus story is important. Jupiter wants to bring you good, lucky, true, wise, and expansive energy in your third house. This is social media landscape. This is like your website, sure, your social media platforms, your digital revenue, your digital empire, if you have one. If you don't, then it's your local environment. Every day you go to the supermarket, gas station, it's a sibling environment, it's your extended kinfolk, cousins and uncles or stuff like that. So generally speaking, it's a very communal place, and it's also your daily routines as you go through your world. Now, I find that Jupiter here, he's only going to be here for 1 year every 12, right? So you can go back every 12 years to see what he expands in this part of your chart. But he was back here in 2014. And so 2014-15, summer to summer, compare notes. Like, for example, I still had my sun progressed to Gemini, and I had my first ever viral hit online on my website, my Wake and Dreamer blog. So there's a vibe of like expanding your outreach as a writer, a communicator, a marketer, a seller, or a teacher. And what happens is you feel free, liberated, excited, exhilarated, inspired. You feel inventive. You feel full of the zap of the lightning strikes of the sky god himself. So you're taking the energy on in you as you, right? You're not like seeing it out there. It's a part of who you are at this time. So there's a kind of inventive spirit with Uranus. It's kind of like, the original inventive mad scientist archetype. And here we have Jupiter expanding your social media or your writing, marketing, selling, teaching landscape. Feels good to be you. Saturday through to Wednesday. A lucky thing could happen in the life of a sibling. All right. So a sibling may have an unexpected lucky break that can happen under the sky. And this is particularly true in a lot of ways if it's a sibling 3 older or 3 younger, but any sibling in general. And we move past that. We come to the Chiron Square where you're feeling a little bit wounded. Maybe you want to rub some salt in that wound about your self-undoing addictions, bad habits, and patterns, how you are self-sabotaging and self-undoing. We all have that. Nobody is without it. It's part of the coping mechanism of being in the matrix. We are always in a coping mode unless we have enlightened ourselves. So the wound of that 12th house is in a square to the sun. Now the sun is illuminating the Jupiter sky story. So I don't know why the midheaven is in there. I don't think that this is not necessarily as bad as it could be. I don't think you feel this as a particular super ouchy feeling. But what I will say is that this can look like you are seeing the light of day when it comes to what you want to do as a thinking being, as a communicating being, as a teaching being, as a writing being. And there's this chironic part of you that is wanting to dig deeper into your past lives and your ancestral stuff and the ways in which you might be unconsciously sabotaging your greatest potential in life. And it can be just a brief thing. It could be a dream. It could be an insight. It's kind of like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday vibe. Thursday, Friday, especially. Moving past the Thursday, Friday vibe, and we get into Venus. She's moving through Virgo. She's looking back at Mercury. Mercury has turned direct on the 23rd. So, or 24th, is all time zone dependent. So we will say that Friday and Saturday, Mercury and Venus are loving each other up. And there is extremely positive news, or positive financial news, positive money news, worth news, savings news, prosperity and earnings news or information. Mercury finally direct. He's been here for 2 months, since June 7th. You've been trying to figure out, retrograding since June 29th, what to do with your financial situation. You've been trying to mastermind your financial wellness, and Mercury is your ideator. I've came up with a brilliant idea, I think anyway, for a membership community I'm launching in January. I've never been more excited by this in my reality as an astrologer. I am so jazzed because when I put this out, you'll see why. It's going to be a blast to be in that membership community with you guys. And it's going to be private, not Patreon. But that was an idea that was coming through this retrograde for me. So now there's more good news. I'm using me as an example. There's more good news here about money, earnings, resources, and finances, home, property, land, and real estate. Now, it can come through many different aspects because Mercury is your ruler. It's going to be good for you. It will be feeling like a win for you. And it can feel like you just like, thank you, God, I'll take it, right? Thank you, I'll take it. Sometimes you might want to buy a car, sell a car, buy a product, buy a piece of furniture, sell a piece of furniture, whatever. That's very mundane, but that can happen here as well. And if you do, you're going to be very, very, very pleased by the amount of money that you generate from that process. After all, Mercury is bossing Venus around and telling her what to do because she's in his kingdom. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. You are looking at a sky where, can I just talk? Cancer, can we talk? All right. Take a deep breath. 2019-20, sure, Mercury retrograded in your sign the same time of year. And he's been retrograding since June 29th. And he's been here since June 7th in your Cancer house. June, July. Now he's finally getting his ass out of there August the 9th. How are you? Tell me in the comments, how are you guys doing? Because it's like everything about your reality has been about what you think, what you are ideating, what your mind is up to as you figure things out. The whole changing your mind thing, for example, is that retrograde Mercury. And for you, this is an important window of time not seen since 1920 and 1919. And so therefore, consider how it is that you're coming out of this week ahead. Now you're going to have that directional clarity with your mind. You'll know what it is you need to do, to choose, to act on, to decide. That's the really good news about it. And technically, Mercury is the ruler of digital income, far off lands, borderless revenue, 12th house stuff for you, as well as anything to do with siblings and actions and decisions and ideas you need to now take into action mode this week regarding sibling relationships. That said, or trips, maybe you've been like, should I travel? Shouldn't I travel? Should I take that trip? Shouldn't I take that trip? Especially if the trip involves siblings or far off shores from where you currently live, like the other side of a country. Now you're ready and you're clear about what you're going to do. You know which way to go this week ahead. That aside, in the beginning of the week, Jupiter and Uranus are hooking up for a wise, true, transcendent, powerful, and positive sign. What's the sign that you're coming into? And when I say a sign, like it's kind of like Mercury's always good for giving you signs, and he's in your sign. But Jupiter is in your money house. So it is a money decision. It is a money clarity of unexpected positive developments. And Uranus is the surprise. You could get more money, a bonus check, a sudden payment, especially if you're working for a foreign company in a distant shore or far off land, especially if you're doing anything to do with digital income or borderless revenue. That is where you could be coming into a very nice surprise. Bonus money is one of the ways it could show up from an employer. Whatever it is, it looks like it's a money surprise and it's positive. It's a part of Barbault's basket, which is why I'm encouraging you to watch my Barbault basket video that came out a few days earlier. And I think also Jupiter here is about your big-hearted courage to move in the vocational direction that is true for you. Sometimes we have to have courage in order to move in the direction of go big or go home, and sky's the limit. And this is real and true for me and how I make money, how I expand my financial success in all ways. And now you're ready because you've got this breaking free, breaking through. And if you've ever been your own Debbie Downer, sabotager of your financial potential, Uranus is helping you kick that to the curb. And now you're ready to go for it, full blast, full bore, full on. You're seeing your own self-worth and value in this surprising way as you move through Saturday, Sunday into Wednesday, that whole long extension of Jupiter and Uranus in a precise sextile. Now, by the time we get to Thursday, we'll have the sun moving into the sign of Leo, putting a spotlight on your money while squaring Chiron in the house of long-range goals, dreams, and plans. Career gains in specific, raises, promotions, perks, rewards, celebrity, influence. Your sibling one older, and there may be a financial struggle or a bit of combustion there on money issues with a sibling one older. You're putting a spotlight, however, on your money, and that's what you're prioritizing. And your mind is clear because Mercury is direct. And this is a house of speech. And you may have to have a conversation with a friend or an ally or a sibling one older than you in birth order in order to clear up something that was confusing, uncertain, or that you didn't have a chance to speak clearly to before. The end of the week, we have Venus, and Friday, Saturday, we have Venus and Mercury in a love fest right here. Friday, Saturday, good news. Good news regarding siblings, good news regarding travel, good news regarding social media, writing, teaching, marketing, and selling. You might be the deliverer of some good news. You are Mercury. You might be the one with the email, phone call, text message going out from you to a sibling, to a neighbor, to a friend from elementary school. And I don't know, maybe you do hear from some of these people as well. Good news is good news. Just take it as it is. Good feelings, good communications, all of that. This could be you maybe making a decision to book a ticket to travel somewhere, because this is the energy of fortunate beginnings regarding travel in an easy, flowing, harmonious way. You'll only travel to a place you've been before. Nothing brand new under the sky. And that might not be the travel. It might be the decision to go or the booking of flights or travel plans. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I hope you are ready for this. You are like, oh gosh, Barbault basket handle holder here on the basket, right? You're one of the main players in this rare sky. This is why the Barbault's basket video I put out a few days before this one last week, you need to go watch it. Just look at my playlist on my channel. And I think that this for you could look like you are feeling magnificently big, large, expansive, open in your energy field this week ahead. And in this magnificent, magnanimous, generous, and wise way you are noticing a surprise, and you consider it positive. A break-free, breakthrough, surprise, a lucky break, an exhilarating turn of circumstances connected to your 11th house of your career gains himself. You get a raise, promotion, you get a bonus check, or, things to do with your long-range goals and plans. Things to do with a sibling who might be one older than you in birth order. And things to do with friends, allies, and benefactors like you. Oh my God, you got a friend said, come to my channel, and they've got 1 million followers. Or another friend said, I've got a tip for you to get an inside edge on this job you're looking at. Friends suddenly surprising you, an older sibling, or something that feels like bonus check territory or lucky break or golden opportunity territory for you. You'll feel that building up Saturday through till Wednesday this week ahead. On Thursday, Saturday behind us, right? On the 18th and up to the middle of the week, the 22nd. Thursday and into Friday, Saturday, especially Thursday, Friday, Chiron moves into Chiron is in Taurus. The sun moves into your sign. And you'll have the sun here, of course, from about July 23rd, 24th, add a month, brightening your skies, making you feel full of vitality and life. Watch you don't get overly heated, but you don't mind the fire. You're of the nature of this. This is your ruling planet. And the sun is spotlighting chironic wounds in your career path. Usually it would be a chironic wound connected to father figures in your life, maybe a dad figure, something about your ancestral line and the patrilineal side of it. And you're inspecting that, but you can also be inspecting wounds connected to your actual career and maybe choices you made that don't feel quite so purposeful. And the light of the sun with Jupiter is enormously productive. There's something about you can see on a clear day. You know that song, on a clear day, you can see forever. What can you see? You can see truth. You can see knowledge. You can see knowing and wisdom. And it will help you define a correct path for your career. For Chiron will be in your career house till mid-September. So you're really working with the idea of what is a purposeful career path for me, as opposed to simply just wanting to make money, right? The end of the week, we'll see Venus sextiling Mercury. Good for you. Venus Mercury sextile usually means something like good news. Venus is in your money house. Mercury is in your digital income, borderless revenue, international money from abroad. This can look like a nice little sweet spot for Leos on the financial front. Maybe somebody could deliver money to you in other ways under the sky, like, it could be like a inheritance payout or something. But there is just something about money that's good coming your way. End of story. Because I can't see Venus, a money goddess, in a money house doing much else. Really. That's the asteroid America, money from America. It's there from another YouTube video. Just ignore it. Virgo. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I have to keep drinking because I get dehydrated talking. So this week ahead, we begin with Jupiter and Uranus. You'll start to feel it the 18th, which is a Saturday, really kind of heating up, right? And it kind of hits like it's denouement, it's closure by Wednesday. So this whole Saturday to Wednesday is in play. And Jupiter is like, okay, let's bring something exciting, positive, and good to you, expansive and prosperous. Now, the 12th house always activates the inheritance house, right? So that's the thing. It will mean that potentially this is legacy money, family of origin, trust funds, and someone is passing money down the line to you. It could be anybody. It could be great uncle for all I know, great Uncle Joe who you didn't know you had, but here comes some money. Yeah. And that kind of money is surprising you maybe, or exhilarating you, or you feel a sense of freedom. Now, honestly, I've been wondering for some of you Virgos, if you want to quit your job, right? Because Mars Uranus is like either you're having a breakthrough moment in your work and career path, if you have one, or you're wanting to like maybe jettison, like parachute out, get the hell out of Dodge, right? And so this can be like financial freedom that allows you to exit a career path or job path that hasn't been satisfying. But if it's not that kind of financial freedom, maybe it's something else. You could get like a massive hiring opportunity with a foreign company. You may get a beautiful breakthrough job opportunity connected to someone from a far offshore offering it to you. If you have a career that engages in digital income and borderless revenue, maybe that's where that breakthrough happens. But it feels like very free. Because Jupiter Uranus is that sense of expansive freedom, sky's the limit, and it feels like a money story. There's no doubt about it. And the energy here can be almost like you had a wish and it came true, okay? So we'll see Mercury is giving you wishes come true as he's finished his long story since early June in your 11th house. We'll get back to him in a minute, and he's your ruler. The middle of the week around Thursday, especially, square from Chiron to the sun, who's ingressed into Thursday, Friday, ingressed into your 12th house. Now, the sun is just shining a light on what Jupiter wants to bring. The sun is solar figures, father figures. This could be money from the family line, father figure money, archetypally. And Chiron is a wound in the ninth. The ninth house is also a father house in Vedic astrology, but it's also the house of one's dharma, one's life path, and it's an educational house. And Jupiter is the god of education. So there may be a Chironic wound you sustained around education goals, especially higher academic educational settings. And Jupiter Sun is revealing a hidden pattern. It's not a real wound at this time unless you get your essay essay back and you failed. It's a psychological, psycho-spiritual wound connected to past lives and ancestral patterns. And so I think some of you are going to really notice that, like, oh my God, I've always wanted to go to school and get my doctorate or my BA. Maybe you never went to university. Maybe you finished high school. This is going to take you into a kind of cool place where you're considering how to heal a wound connected to educational purpose, key to purpose, and having maybe a sense of, here's an opportunity that's golden opportunity, right? Sun, Jupiter, golden opportunity. Maybe I'll call the video the Golden Opportunity Week ahead. All right, so let's get going and talk about Mercury. He's your ruler. He's in the house of your wishes. Wish fulfillment, anyone? What do you truly desire? And he's talking to Venus in your sign, and you are getting what you truly desire. Now, there's a loss, a letting go, and a surrendering, but your desires can be made manifest. And particularly with Venus ruling your money and earnings and possessions, it's a financial desire, most likely, that is being given to you. Like a dream come true, some small financial hope, wish, or dream may manifest. And it doesn't have to be life-changing, but it should feel pretty damn positive, okay? This is like where we deposit the money in our bank account. So maybe you've got like a nice little check deposit here of some kind. When I talked about Jupiter, and I should have brought it up, he also rules your marriage house. Some of this can be the prosperity connected to your in-laws, family, that you inherited through marriage as well. Okay. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. We are halfway around the wheel, and it's 45 minutes into this recording. I am so slow sometimes. You're going to notice the beginning of this week, starting maybe Saturday the 18th to Wednesday the 22nd, that Jupiter and Uranus want to bring a breakthrough or a surprise that's quite bounteous. Good news is Jupiter is in his joy house, and he's in a house associated with career gains. That can include money, that can include fame, that can include a raise or promotion, the corner office, it can include influence over larger groups of people, all of those things, promotions. And so here we have this Jupiter expansion. You've been working hard last year because for the whole year before June 30th, you were getting more career ambition, achievement, and success under your belt. I hope anyway. This guy was trying to do that. Now there's even greater gains available. And I think that Jupiter and Uranus in that kind of career perk energy, it means you're surprised by a breakthrough, and it can involve foreign countries, foreign shores and lands. It can involve new positions of power in hierarchical structures, and it can include a breakthrough in industries like teaching, learning, book publishing, and even legal breakthroughs. There's a sense of windfalls or pennies that fall from heaven here where Jupiter is sitting. And so if money comes your way, it feels amazing. Now you can get friends in positions of power and influence who want to benefit you and do you a favor. And that favor brings you into something powerful, into something positive that you consider a breakthrough, especially if you're somebody who wants to dispense education, knowledge, or wisdom into the collective. Then this could be like being invited to a major famous person's podcast or something like that, getting a leg up into the land of the powerful and celebrity types here as well. Now we move past that story and we get you into the Chironic wound on Thursday, and that thing is hovering here, Chiron, the wound in the 8th house. The 8th house is kind of like a chunky money place. This is money from inheritances and spousal separation and divorce agreements, digital income, borderless revenue, money from ad revenue on YouTube, whatever, and royalty income from books, Chironic wound. And we have a square to the sun lighting up Jupiter. There's a breakthrough here. You're going to, I know it's not Uranian, but it's like, and Jupiter wants you to dispel the darkness. The sun is here to see the truth in the light of the sun about what you truly desire in life, and let go of the 8th house story, because the Chironic wound here is showing you deep karmic wounds about your egoic identity. When something doesn't go your way and you take it personally because your ego is affronted by that, then you are still stuck in your small self. And this can open up a directional shift towards understanding the higher self that you are is not upset by delays or problems or money. There's a turning energy here, like a liberating view of what's possible. I like the 11th house. It's kind of like wish upon a star, and the power for you to do the wish upon a star is here for you. And you just have to inspect the wound that thinks that somehow, some way, you're not capable of or worthy of that. So look for that really hitting you around Thursday. And then we move into Thursday and Friday and into Saturday. Venus is going to the Lord of your sign flow to Mercury in your career house for good news on the career and reputation front. Might be an opportunity to speak in front of a group of people. It might be getting a little bit of time in the public eye with messages you need to deliver. Venus is bringing it from backroom deals to negotiations. I think someone's really helping you behind the scenes to succeed, whether it's a spirit of the dead or a real person, I'm not sure. Also, this is digital income and borderless revenue connected to your career. So maybe all of a sudden you launch a product or you end up going viral on YouTube and making some ad revenue. Something could really bust through here in a nice sweet spot way, not life changing, but kind of nice. Okay. When you're look for that breakthrough again, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. With Mercury finally going direct, you finally know what direction you want to take your career in, right? You've been thinking about that since June 29th, and he's direct, hallelujah, on around Thursday this week ahead. All right, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. This guy tells me that you are having a very auspicious week ahead full of luck and breakthroughs. The first thing is the 10th house. Jupiter is up here, and as you experience his energy as early as Saturday, the 18th, through to Wednesday, the 22nd, you notice that he's trying to bring a surprise right here. Fun with Jupiter because he rules your creativity, your art, your entrepreneurial business from the heights of the sky, and also parenting and fertility and pregnancy and having a child. So for my Scorpio rising sun, who gets a lot of talk from me here and doesn't mind, it could be that he's announcing to the world that he's a parent. That's as simple as that. Saturday the 22nd to the Saturday the 18th to Wednesday the 22nd, and cigar in hand, here's the baby, and because his wife is ready to deliver anytime. And then the other thing that's going on is you could have a career breakthrough, because this is like unexpectedly you are having a bust out energy in your visible reputation, actions in the world, accomplishments professionally. And it could be a surge of money as well connected to your career, or a new level of power or exposure or success in your career. And that will be happening through to Wednesday. As we move away from that Wednesday story and it could bring you more money, right? Because Jupiter rules your earnings house. So a chunk of surprising money, a chunk of money coming to you is what I'm trying to get at, that surprises you. This money could come from father figures as well. Now, as we move away from that story and we tend to another one, there's a chironic wound midweek. It's really amplified on Thursday. The sun has moved into the 10th house. Chiron is in your 7th house. It can feel like a chironic wound in how you are relating to your significant long-term love partner, if you have one. It can feel like a chironic wound in how you are dealing with a client or customer, an audience member. But more deeply, this is the chironic wound here till mid-September in the house of how you relate to important people in your life. And it may not be your problem. It may be theirs. They may be feeling chironically wounded in some way. Something has got under their skin, and you're here to just witness, help, or support them through it. So they may feel a little chironic wound or a health challenge in the life of a significant other, maybe happening around Thursday and Friday. As we move past that to, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in particular, Mercury will flow to Venus, which is usually kind of a good news energy. It's also very sweet for social time, celebrating with friends here. And you may be celebrating things that have to do with education or legal matters and court cases. But I think also look for information or news Thursday, Friday, Saturday from the realm of the 9th house. A book publishing deal is secured. An agent wants to take you on in a publishing deal. A Substack article goes viral. Someone in a position of power, likely female, is going to send you a message that supports you. This would be like you got a letter of recommendation to go to Harvard from a very influential female friend. So there's this kind of, the transactional quality is news, information, communication, luck, fulfillment of desire and wishes. Yes, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sky tells us that the sky is full of luck in the week ahead. It's a blessed week to be alive. Jupiter will be talking starting Saturday the 18th, maybe till about Wednesday the 22nd, in a very tight way, building up a momentum around Monday, Tuesday. Jupiter is talking to the planet Uranus in a very nice flow. Surprises of what kind? about your relationship, your marriage, about your significant other, about your legal and contractual dealings, especially if you're dealing with anything to do with judges, courts, and legal bureaucracy, then there's a surprise positive breakthrough that favors you. This is also maybe something to do with grandchildren. Something exciting is happening with your grandchildren, or you're finding out one of your children is going to be pregnant and they're telling you about it. Or if you are young enough, your partner expresses that they may be pregnant. Yes, I know, but that was what could happen here through till Wednesday. If you are somebody who is aspiring to get into your favorite college or university, for example, this could be the lucky breakthrough moment, the email, the text, the phone call, the conversation that tells you, I just got in, I can't believe it. That's exciting. And if any of you thinking of traveling abroad, maybe internationally, wants to take a trip, a pilgrimage especially, there's a kind of freedom here, electric current breakthrough around the plans, the ideas, or the considerations that you may be harboring around those themes. Now, when we get into, and sibling, 3 older or 3 younger may bring a breakthrough story your way. This highlights breakthroughs, prosperity, abundance, and sibling relationships as well. And I will say any sibling in general, but siblings can be really highlighted. Now, midweek, like around Thursday, Chiron, Sun has ingressed into Leo. And that will be around the 23rd. And then we have, Thursday, Friday, a chironic wound highlighted here, right? I'm going to go back a day and make sure that ingress is correct. Yeah, so as early as the 22nd, really, the sun time zone dependent, right? This is like 5 p.m. Vancouver time. The sun moves into Leo. So let's go back to your sign. Oh, sorry about that. So Sag, it's kind of like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, perhaps a chironic wound's digging into your rib cage, and it may have to do with your work, your health, your pets, your debts, your rental property situations, and a bit of a wound around it. It can be very much a wound connected as well to being like lawsuited by somebody, or even, someone wants a summary judgment on some legal battle. If that is the case, it's just a temporary feeling, because with the sun ingressed here, Jupiter here, there's like a holy light of the good father in your 9th house of God. It's like, if the judge will favor you, the university will accept you, the book publishing deal will happen. Your purpose is alive and well. So maybe it's a job versus purpose moment, and you're going to feel like, the job, but my purpose is here. It'll all work out. It's the beginning of you healing something deep and karmic, including karmic debts. So we'll talk about that later on in another video, because I've done a Chiron in the 6th house video. Let's move on to the end of the week. Mercury and Venus are sextiling, feeling it very tightly on Friday and Saturday. That sextile between these two, and Mercury will have moved direct. That's the most important piece of it. Mercury and Venus talking. Venus is making the contact as she moves forward. Good news. Good news about your career. Good news about getting out of your career. Good news about a severance package. Good news about letting go of your career and having more money than you needed or thought you needed. Venus rules rental properties. Have been looking for a rental home. Good news about that. You've been looking for debt elimination, refinancing, mortgages, bank loans. You got this. Buying a home, perhaps even that. So she exalts your home. So those are the good news vibes for you at the end of the week. It's not a bad time to list a property for sale. It could be also auspicious for you Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Chiron, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. First off, you notice that you have the energy here, Jupiter, the Santa Claus, fairy godfather, and the chunky money. Like, sit down, take a bow, relax. He'll be here for a year, right? So till next July. And he just got here at the end of June. So your money situation is going to go on the upswing. It's not always money you earn, but you may get inheritance, some spousal separation agreement money from sale of property, or any kind of chunk of money. You could win it too. So you're kind of under this auspicious every 12 years glow up, but this is extremely rare because eclipses will happen in your 8th house as well. Your relationship to money that you don't earn, that's shared with others, is dramatically changing in the next year. Under that story, in the backdrop. You're noticing that as the week begins, Capricorn, Uranus has a surprise. This is a house of money that's owed, debts and indebtedness. And there's a break-free breakthrough moment. So like, for example, you owe spousal support money, but the judges have decided to nullify it. Wouldn't that be nice? Or you have something going on with a chunk of money that could come through, kind of a karmic debt relief program. If anybody owes you money at all, then money returns to you at this time. And we're feeling this on Saturday the 18th to Wednesday the 22nd. You might also, under this influence, be looking at a dramatic financial breakthrough connected to rental properties. Now, this can be many things. You could rent your mansion out. You couldn't believe that someone would pay $10,000 a month. Or you could find a rental property opportunity emerging for you in the same time frame. And it's a little bit like karmic debts meet karmic patterns. You know, there's a shift here, a kind of breaking free of those karmic debts with individuals you've known in your life, but also in patterns that have always held you bound by karmic chains of some kind. So when we talk about debt, money, we also have karmic debt here, and that's breaking free and through. Jupiter Guru is in an enlightenment house, and it could step you up to another phase or direction of self-awareness connected to what we would call spiritual liberation. Then we move into Chiron, you know, noticing that Chiron has got a woundedness here, probably feeling it quite strongly on Thursday as the sun, even a little bit on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You might be feeling you have to deal with a wound around love and sexuality and romance, creativity and the muse, and a wound maybe about something going on in the life of one of your children, if you have them, romantic lovers, all of that. A wound in your joy factor, your pleasure and play factor, a wound in your entrepreneurial reality. That wound is going to be here till mid-September. So sexual, romantic love wounds are here. And the square to the sun is illuminating something karmic or patterns from past lives or things to do with spiritual woundedness, like how your spiritual life and your romantic life are interconnected. And Jupiter is wisdom and dispelling of the darkness, and the sun is the light. So there's a real clarity here in middle of the week about those patterns for you, particularly on July the 23rd, right? And then into the 24th. You'll feel it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, moving past that to the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we get Venus and Mercury in a positive flow. It's like good news. There's one way to code that, positive news. It can be good news regarding people that you have been in a connection with in a long-term love and romantic union. Why? Or good legal news and court case outcomes. The relationship thing is because in June 7th, Mercury started entering into this part of your chart, not seen since 2019 and 20 in this long stay, retrograded on June the 29th and went direct on the 23rd, 24th, time zone dependent. His direct motion is to move forward in a place that you've been waffling about. And maybe people from your past that you've been connected to in long-term love have been returning for, emails, phone calls, or text messages or something like that. So now you've got momentum and clarity through to August 9th. Mercury's going direct. He's out of shadow August 6th, and he hooks up with Venus, the goddess of love, in the house of far-off lands and foreign shores. Venus in the house of legal cases and court matters, visas and passports. I don't know. Something is going on in your love life for sure. This is most likely that. Otherwise, a judge favors you in a legal setting connected to marriage, or you could get a book publishing deal. You could get some kind of good news about a legal contract that you weren't anticipating. You could have some good news regarding a sibling 3 older or younger than you in birth order, okay? There we have that good news vibe coming through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Or Friday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay. Oh, I need an air conditioning unit to heat up in here. It is warm. Hi, it is warm. All right, so Aquarius, I'm one of you, sun, moon, and rising sign. The idea that Jupiter is blessing us in our 7th house feels good. This means famous, powerful, rich, and magnanimous people show up for us to help us out as partners, allies, and partners, allies, etc. Thank you, Amrit Sandhu. Thank you, Amelia Ortez, for having me on your channel. This is like this vibe. I'm really enjoying it so far. So Jupiter entered here around June the 30th, and he'll in the house of audience, marketplace, allies, partnerships, and stuff like that. And he'll be here, guru. He'll be here until next year in July. And here we have this week's story. Jupiter starting on Saturday the 18th. Really hitting the peak around Monday the 20th to Tuesday the 21st, waning by the 22nd, which is Wednesday, is a positive surprise. Kabing, ka-ching. Now, there's a lot of ways this can play out, right? This could be an unexpected in-loveness, right? Like head over heels, thunder and lightning, the way you love me is frightening. Kaboom. You're meeting somebody. You already know it's going to feel like a commitment already. It's like we just met, but it feels like this is important. That can happen under this sky. This could also end up looking like a very profound opportunity in your creative or your entrepreneurial world, in your way that you wish to show up as an artist, as a performer, as a business owner. And Uranus is bringing a surprise, and Jupiter is bringing the goodness, the bounty. And we can win money here, right? This is your lottery ticket zone. And so there's a potential of that, not necessarily, but Mercury rules it. So the gains of the surprise could be money, second from the fifth. So it is feasible. You could win some money here. Jupiter just represents prosperity, right? Abundance. It could be money that you share with another. It could be money that's just for you, but there is a kind of ka-ching vibe on the sky for you. Saturday, the 18th to about Wednesday, the 22nd. So look for that. Breaking free and breaking through regarding how you meet your clients, audience, or marketplace, the public, and something coming in here about a spark of genius or inventiveness in your muse, creative ideas, and business partnerships. On the middle, and your children could have a positive surprise, particularly financial. Now, as you go into the next story, you're going to talk about your woundedness. This is ancestral. This is your childhood. This is mom and dad. This is growing up. This is a chironic wound that you're investigating until mid-September. And it squares the sun joining Jupiter as well, starting on July 23rd, which is a Thursday. And I think, 22nd, actually, late in the day, Vancouver. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, what is this wound that you're inspecting? The light is shining in your seventh house. It looks like a business partnership, marriage wound, or wound in regards to how you connect to a sibling 3 older or 3 younger than you in birth order, or even a wound in connection to the archetype of marriage rather than one partner, the one you're married to. It could be a woundedness around marriage itself and what it means to you based on your childhood and ancestral line. The clarity, the light is shining, but through the house of other, some teacher, some book, some guru, some person shines awareness your way about the ancestral and familial wounds that are holding you back. Yes. So look for that midweek. Wednesday, Thursday, maybe. And then we move into Friday, Saturday, and Mercury. Yes, thank you, Mercury. Good news. What's the good news? Mercury adds chunks of money. Did we win the lottery? Good news around debt elimination. Good news connected to work and money, especially residual income, royalty income, Google AdSense, money connected to taxes and rebates, money connected to refi. This is the ideal refinancing. Venus rules your 4th house, mortgages, land and property, debt elimination, and positive and good news. Good news regarding things to do with shared mutual resources with the in-laws, with your spouse, if it involves indebtedness. Okay, so there's that good news vibe. You're looking good. Venus rules the house of courts and judges. So especially if you're looking at sussing out divorce monies and settlements, you get some good news around that as well, probably at the end of this week into Saturday. Finally, before we do the world astrology, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising, I get to speak freely about world events to my members only. And after this, I get to do a little blurb about Sky Reader. I can kind of think for you that this sky is opening up a particular story. Jupiter is your ruler. This is the week that he is going to splash some positive news to you. You're going to feel it Saturday the 18th through to Wednesday the 22nd, so a little bit behind when you probably see this video. And Jupiter is in the health house, and he's talking to Uranus in your home life. So good news about your health, good news about debts, good news about rental property opportunities, and good news about pets. good news about work environment stories, especially if you work from home. And this is a nice splash. It's a nice feel-good moment here. Jupiter is your ruler. He wants you to feel better. Good news about your health, and your body is particularly awesome under the sky. There may be surprising good news about your health, or maybe a breakthrough in your health. And Jupiter rules your career space, right? And trines your money house. So good career news, good money news as well, coming from something you do in and from your home. This is going to be a lovely week for that. In the middle of the week, though, you're going to notice that you have a bit of an ouchie in your sibling relationships, in your short distance travel, and a bit of a chironic wound in your online world, or your ability to write, communicate, prophesy, divine, and scry. All of that stuff in the third house has a bit of a woundedness to it. This is your mind. It's what you think. It's your ideas. And it's going to open up a square to the Sun and Jupiter in your sixth house. Sixth house is your karmic stories, your karmic patterns, your indebtedness. We want to be of service and pay off karmic debt. Seva, service without recompense or a need for reward or remuneration. And, and Jupiter's good for that. You might be very service oriented in the next year, and you will prosper in your livelihood as a result of it. But you're expecting a bit of the sky with a light, flashlight in your sixth house. I would almost think, how many of your health challenges connect to your sibling relationships that have been unhealed, and which sibling relationship is the one that needs to be restored within yourself, for your health issues may be impacted by the sibling relationship that you have yet to really restore within yourself to a place of neutrality. All right. We move into the last part of the week, and this is lovely news. Venus is bringing good news connected to your children, connected to your spouse, connected to your audience and marketplace outreach if you're entrepreneurial. Mercury in the fifth house can be the information or news coming from a lover or a child, connected to fertility stories like pregnancy. And Mercury is also connected in your chart, right? The ruler of your seventh house of marriage. So your spouse could be the one bringing good news, and it might be about their career, some career opportunities that they're having, and the good news is being delivered to your doorstep. Feeling this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If you have a spouse, if you're single, this could be a first date moment with someone who feels like a soulmate, right? And if you're with somebody already, again, maybe your partner is the one having some good news. It looks kind of professional from the position of your seventh house. Mercury is in your partner's 11th, a career gain, a perk, a reward for them in their professional advancement. And it may not even be about you, but the other one is which one of your kids is telling you that they're going to have a baby. Or maybe which one of your kids is telling you that they're fertile or something like that. I don't know what this is. News or information from your children is going to be important this week ahead. You've already gone past that square, Mercury square Saturn, and that could have been your children going through some tough times, even financially. Now there's a turnaround story at the end of this week. You might notice that Thursday, Friday. I'm just sitting with one more thing. Money from your in-laws, right? If you have in-laws, then there may be some good, fortunate news around money from your in-laws coming up on the weekend or the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. Thanks for listening, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. But right after what you're hearing right now, right after this, if you want to stick around, there's my Sky Reader outro, where I'm just going to talk a bit about the course. And then just beyond that, it's members only. Every year I teach Sky Reader in the fall. It's always in September. It's usually 6 weeks long. And this time we're going for 7. We're taking it a little slower, giving you a very kind of leg up first week, which we take the pieces of the sky and teach you to read them in a very constructive and well-paced manner. This is my favorite class to teach. When I teach Sky Reader, I always feel so excited because you have learned to read your own sky. You now know what your chart is all about, and you know how to read the basic language of astrology for your friends, family, and your children, whoever you want to share it with. No, we're not professionally certifying you. At Lunatic Astrology, and I'm your teacher, Lori Lothian, we're teaching you to fish so that when you listen to me on YouTube and you're getting all of that guidance, maybe you can also get your own. We don't want to move against the sky. We want to move with the sky. We want to move in the area of our lives that brings us flow and ease, because the sky supports that. And by having a knowledge of what the sky is saying, and relative to our own natal sky, we are able to operate at a new level. That level is about flow. It is about not arguing with what is happening and moving in the direction of what wants to happen. It is so darn simple. Life is full of ups and downs, but if you know that there's a swamp, 2 doors away, and if you walk that way, you're going to get stuck in quicksand, you can avoid that. If you go to the left instead of the right, there's a beautiful meadow with a lake. Why not take that path? The sky is always grabbing us. It's called the grahas, or the grabbers. The planetary planets, like where they're going in the sky, the transits, that moving heavens, the moving stars, the map of time is a map of where we should avoid getting stuck and where we may move forward with freedom. And the grabber part of planets is that they're almost like celestial teasers, right? They want to grab us and make us move in a direction. Sometimes it's not in our highest and best good. And I don't mean in a conscious, malefic way. I just mean you can take something like Neptune and make it all about transcendence and spiritual union and high creativity and imagination. And you can take it all the way down to drug addiction, and destitution maybe, and even things to do with mental challenges, health challenges. So you can operate at all levels of every planet. In Sky Reader, we show you your highest potential. Now, this is an introductory class. If you want to come to Sky Reader to be your own astrologer and time your best life, then you're coming because you are curious astrologically. You're not coming because you've already taken some heavyweight courses under your belt. You're coming because you've been listening to my channel or other astrologers, and you've always had a curiosity about learning, and you've always wanted to learn to read the sky, which is the map of time. So I'm hoping some of you will come join me there, because I've graduated hundreds of students so far, and the feedback is wonderful. And I invite all of my students, former, to come back every year and play around in redoing the course for 75% off, because I think the more you do it, the more you deepen it. We have guest teachers every year. When you join Sky Reader, you get the archived vault. In other words, you can go back and watch other guest classes in astrocartography, the astrology of relocation, and things to do with zodiacal releasing and more. We have these guest teachers coming in this year, are so much fun. We have a guest teacher about the love codes, Donnie Lim of astrology, learning to read your Venus story. We have a guest teacher coming in about medical or wellness astrology. We have another one showing us about how to choose the perfect day to do something, day and time to launch your website, get married. That's called electional astrology. We have what's your purpose, dharma kind of thing with another teacher. So what we're doing is we're giving you a lot of content. What you're doing is you're taking time to learn, but also to hold on to that content forever. It is evergreen. Once you have it, you never don't have it. If it's over your head at first, you won't be over your head when you take a second stab at it. Weekly Q&As, different time zones, so we can get people around the world in those Q&As. We alternate between evening and night every second week on Wednesday nights, and usually they're at 5:30 or 6 p.m. Pacific time. We also have the idea that the class itself is now happening at 9:30 a.m. in Pacific time on Saturday, starting on the 19th of September. So that's wonderful. We have a Facebook group and a Discord group that we have moderators running, where you can meet other people who are learning astrology, share your notes, and get to meet some new astrologically curious friends. Who knows? You might meet your soulmate there. And we're also taking you through a journey that is sequential, from learning to read the sky to being able to use 2 very profound timing tools to help you understand your reality and begin to move forward with ease and grace. The feedback from Sky Reader year after year has been phenomenal, and every time I teach it, I learn to make it more simple, more well-paced, and more easy for you to grasp. So I'm in 7 years of doing this. I think I'm getting it down finally to a fine art, thanks to you guys. I'm going to show you the website just so you see what it looks like. I'm now moving most of my content to lorilothian.com. It used to be somewhere else at Padaya. If you're there already, nothing is taken away from you. At this point, though, I'll show you the new website so you can take a gander at what the sky looks like over there, what my site looks like. And I hope to see some of you in class. I always say this, and I'm not making this up. You might probably think, oh, that's a sales pitch. Oh, I might not teach this next year. That's not true. I always wonder if I'm just going to retire and start to write books. And my agent wants me to write a book. And so I have a lot on my plate to get done in this life. Legacy is to leave a book behind. So for me, when I say I may not teach this next year, Lori may not teach this next year. Okay. All right. So this is the website, lorilothian.com. If you go /sky-reader, you'll be at the introduction to the course and the enrollment page. We're on a discount code right now until the end of July. Well, it's not a code, it's just a discount. There's 40% off the full price. And then in August, depending on when you hear this, there'll be another lower price, not as discounted as July's early enrollment price, but by September, it will go to full price. So make sure that you get in this class with a discount if that's something you're looking for. So you can see this beautiful website was created by my team. I think it's gorgeous. learn to read your sky, and then there's a preview of what we have going on. So when you get into the course backdrop and you're there, you're going to have like stuff already waiting for you, a little tutorial on how to cast your chart in whole sign houses, free minis of the 12 houses PDF, and I have what I call your Astro Toolkit. I'm always adding more stuff to that toolkit. You don't need a professional software. You can use Astrocom, astro-seek.com, time passages. These are free softwares. This is not requiring you to purchase professional software in order to learn in my course. And you'll see that we have the toolkit here. These are elements that go in, how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. These are already in the back end of the program. Your cheat sheet pack, 12 signs, 12 houses guide. This is just learning tools. This is all going to help you learn. For most classes, I'll be putting together a handbook to help guide you through each class, which is new this year, kind of a prompts, a questions, things to fill out so that you can use it as a kind of self-study tool. Just print it out on a PDF on a computer. I'll aim to keep it black and white, of course, so you don't have to worry about color. And then we see that the Astrology 101 is we set you up really slowly. I call it the slow start, where we're really going to build the basic building blocks together so that when you come off of week one, you are like someone who went to kindergarten to learn the alphabet. You're going to have the basics in your toolkit, in your understanding already. And then we talk about the various parts of the sky, the big four, the 12 houses, dignity matters. Planets have dignity. You want to understand that. Otherwise, there's nothing you're going to understand without that. Dignity matters. We're also using whole sign houses, and this is ancient Hellenistic astrology. The focus will not be on the outer planets because we can't use them as time lords. And so it's not that there's anything wrong with the outer planets, but they're not good for timing your best life. Unless you want to live 248 years, says Pluto, 164 years, says Neptune, or 84 years, says Uranus. They're not the most timely tools, right? Solar returns is one of the things we do, and we learn about the perfection ages. Now, you may think I know all about my solar return and my perfection age. I don't think you do. I embed in some advanced tools there for you that you won't probably find anywhere else after like 8 years and thousands of clients, nonstop teaching and seeing real clients in the trenches. I have figured a few things out, and I always like to share what I figured out with you guys so that you can also use those tools the way I do. There's always bonus content here. And so you get from me, not to use until you've taken Sky Reader, the birthday chart advanced course as your solar return, the annual perfections advanced course, and how to find people in your chart. Where's my mom? Where's my kids? Where's my husband? Where's my siblings? How to find the planets that represent those people in your chart. That is also a part of a course that I've taught that I give you as a part of your bonus toolkit. Okay, so I hope you guys will go over. I hope you'll have fun if you come to study with me. I would love to see you there. When I talk about teaching, without a doubt, it is my favorite thing to do. It gives me a joy, actually. I remember years ago, I went to see a psychic reader in Coquitlam, Canada. That's outside of Vancouver. She looked at me as I walked in the room. This is like 15 years ago. And she said, teacher, 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 you are a teacher. At the time, I was a magazine editor and a writer, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And look at her today. She was right 15 years later. That is my passion. That is what I do. Hope you'll join me. I'll see you guys in Sky Reader, and let's have some fun learning together. Everyone have a very good, wherever you are, day, month, or year.
Lunatic astrology.